ESO Personalised, proud sponsor of the Impacted podcast. Why not visit their website on www.esopersonalised.co.uk. Your brand is our business.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of TNI Impacted with your host, myself, the Bison, and as always, my fantastic...
Coming up to you from the void and channeling it. Oh, my mind's gone blank, so channeling something from the empty space is the Joker.
Well, it is an empty space, Joe. Let's face it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
You know,
well, I'm coming back from a trio still, so I'm up.
Fair enough. Anyway, let me just make it very, very clear to everyone. Myself, the Bison, I do not have the coronavirus. And Joe, how about yourself, mate? Are you looking good?
Yeah, hit and miss, yeah.
But no, you're coronavirus free, right?
As far as I can tell, yes.
Good lad. That's what we need to know. Fantastic. And I just want to make sure that everybody out in the land of, I don't know, the listeners, whatever you want to call it, the impactors, maybe. Yeah, how about that? That's a good one. Anyone that listens to the show is an impactor. You reckon?
Oh, yeah. I reckon.
All those impactors out there, stay safe, stay home, wash your hands. Anyway, moving on. So just to give you a bit of a rundown. So Impacted is a TNI show where we exclusively discuss the incredible talents and characters of Impact Wrestling. We look into their past, their present, and of course we predict their future. Because hey, none of us know what's going to happen in the future, do we? None of us knew all this stuff was going to happen. So, who are we discussing this week?
We are going to Ohio. We're going to go by Ohio. We're taking over everything. Everything. As we talk about the draw, Sami Callihan. Thumbs up.
Thumbs down. Love it. Fucking love it. Anyway, listen. So that's why I thought I'd better make sure that tonight I have got the Death Machine hat on. Sami, baby. Yes, what a fan. Now, I guess you could probably tell that this man is definitely a ginormous fan of this man.
Oh, yes.
And this, to me, has been the one that I've really, really wanted to do. To me, I call it the money, the draw. It is the draw for Impacted, the discussion about Sami, the Death Machine.
We've been holding this one a long time, guys. I can assure you.
Yeah. We've wanted to do this one pretty much from the start, but we just felt that we needed to sort of kind of make sure that we give the man a really good show. So it was all about getting some practice, getting good. I think we're getting better anyway. And our viewership seems to think we're getting better too, because we keep getting more and more views, boys. So that's doing well.
Keep it in, guys. Thank you.
Thank everybody. The Impactors, baby. Thank you very much. So listen, let's talk about. I want to start something new. I want to do something new because it's something we've not really done. We sort of kind of discussed stuff in the past, but we've never really kind of called it anything. So I'd like to start off this discussion on the draw with a new stats and facts section of the show. So let's talk about Sami. Let's talk about him. Let's sort of get some stats and facts going. So Sami is 5'11", so he's not particularly tall. In fact, 5'11" is about the same height as me. Funny enough, I'm 5'11".
Yeah, about the same as me.
Not particularly tall. So he's not particularly tall. But what he does lack in height, he certainly makes up in aggression. That's for sure.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He's 216 pounds. I wish I was 216 pounds at 5'11". Unfortunately, I'm getting close to 300. But hey, 216 is a decent weight at 5'11". I'd love to be that weight. He debuted his very first match as a professional wrestler was back in 2005. So the draw's been around for a good 15 years.
It's amazing.
I mean, That's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. The man has been up there. He's been doing this. He's been doing his thing for 15 years. The guy is a professional. He knows what he's doing. And I think those 15 years have been, well, I mean, yeah, it means that he's basically been wrestling since he was 18, because the next stat on my, the next fact and stat that I've got here is he's 33. So he's 33 years of age.
He's only a year older than me.
There you go. He's 33 years old. He's been wrestling for 15 years, which means he debuted when he was 18 years old. That's yeah. I mean, we're talking. I mean, he's a veteran, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. You forget how long these guys have actually been wrestling before they even turned professional.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So
I mean,
hats off to Sami.
As we all know, he hails from Dayton, Ohio. So we all know that one already, don't we?
Oh yeah, I haven't got much to say about Ohio. I've never been myself.
I have. I've been to Ohio and I like it. I've been to Canton. A couple of times. I've never been to Dayton, although I was planning on going to Dayton at some point.
Yeah.
But I've never been. So, yeah, definitely on my list of places to visit, Ohio. If I ever go to Dayton, I will definitely be going to Wrestling Revolver. Without doubt. There's a fact.
Oh,
so,
definitely.
Now, here's the next thing. Trained. Now, Sami was trained by One Man Crew, legend, and Les Thatcher as well. Both incredible legend trainers in the industry. Now, the one that I didn't know, and I was quite surprised but very impressed to see, was that he was also trained at some point by the legendary TNA. Give me a show!
Shell, yeah.
Oh,
This I didn't know this either. So when you told me yesterday, I was surprised.
I was doing my research and it popped up, and I'm like, yeah. Well, I knew that Shark Boy was a wrestling trainer. I knew that.
Yeah.
I had no idea that he had a part in putting together the draw. I really didn't. And I have to say, and I say this all the time, Shark Boy does not get sometimes the credit he deserves. He's obviously he's a comedy act. He is obviously a take on Stone Cold with the whole "Give Me a Show," yeah, because that's the fishing line. Shark Boy said so. So of course, it's really, I mean, at the end of the day, I love Shark Boy. I guess probably because I was a huge Stone Cold Steve Austin fan back in the day, during the Attitude Era especially, massive Stone Cold fan. And I guess, when I came across Shark Boy on TNA back in the day, I thought he was fantastic. And I thought his actual impressions, like voices, used to do the hair and everything, used to do it all. I used to think, I just thought he was so good, and very clever. A very clever take on the Stone Cold character. Have you seen much of Shark Boy, or did you? I said to you yesterday, you should look him up online. He's actually a really good guy. He's a really good wrestler.
I haven't seen a lot of him at WCW, and I've not seen a huge amount of him at TNA. The first time I saw Shark Boy was during Joseph Park and Jeremy Borash versus Scott Steiner and Josh Matthews, and even the little spot he had there after James Mitchell had come in, that made me laugh my head off. And I've seen a couple of Shark Boys matches before in TNA, and I can see he's just so underrated, and like you said, he's just he's a perfect comedy act. He's just one of those characters that's unforgettable because you're not supposed to take him seriously.
No, you're not supposed to take him seriously. You're supposed to just enjoy the gimmick. Because at the end of the day, he's taken an iconic character within wrestling and he's turned he's sort of he's made it his own. I don't know where he's made it better, but he's made it his own. Nothing for me. Nothing can top Stone Cold, right? Stone Cold for me is the ultimate Attitude Era badass, and that is
definitely
it. right? There's no one better, you know, for me than Stone Cold Steve Austin. However, I used to really, really enjoy Shark Boy, and I was aware that he has got his own training school. I believe it's in Florida. I believe it's in Orlando, but I'm not 100% sure. So to find out that Shark Boy had a bit of a, you know, an influence or a bit of an input on training Sami, I found very cool. So yeah, so kudos to Shark Boy for.
You can see where Sami got his charisma from. Must have helped him build some momentum there.
Yeah, maybe because I mean, Shark Boy is just just a crazy character, but he's a crazy character with serious attitude. And you know, I think that you know, maybe I don't know, maybe you know, his promo stuff had a little bit of influence from Shark Boy. I don't know, but all I know is that I was very impressed and very surprised to see that. But at the same time, I thought that was really cool. So yeah, kudos. So trained by one-man crew. Don't know too much about him. I know he's a bit of a legend in the industry, and Les Thatcher as well. Both are big legends when it comes to training wrestlers. So you could tell that his background, you know, who trained him and everything else is really you know, really helped build Sami. Whether it be his character or his in-ring skills, whatever. At the end of the day, the guys had some real good training behind him, which is fantastic. So stats and facts done. Moving on to his career, Joe. Moving on to his career.
Okay.
It says here I mean, although his debut match was in 2005, I don't know where that was. I'm sure that was just in some kind of like, you know, local fed or something in Ohio or whatever. I don't know. But his actual indie wrestling kind of, you know, as an indie wrestler, as a professional indie wrestler, his career started around about 2006. That kind of spanned all the way through to 2013. But during that time, he also did a little bit. I think he spent about a year in Ring of Honor. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not. I've not stopping over keen on Ring of Honor. I watched a bit of it while I started watching TNA. Up to 2011. Sorry, 2014, 15, 16.
Yeah.
It was mostly the Young Bucks night in the ring spotlight of Ring of Honor. So Sami Callihan was long gone.
Yeah. So he also had 2 runs with CZW, which was 2008 to 2013. He also returned when he returned back to indie wrestling 2015 to 2018. He's also spent time with Evolve. He was there from 2010 to 2013. That's quite a large promotion. He was obviously getting noticed at this time. Obviously, he did Dragon Gate USA for a year, 2010, 2011. He then was picked up. Obviously, he was scouted by the WWE. So he ended up in developmental at the time, NXT. That was in 2013, which is, of course, why he stopped being an indie wrestler in 2013, as he was then signed to NXT from 2013 to 2015. Now, he had a couple of runs with Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. So that was, I think there was a year around 2012, 2013. He also, when he obviously left NXT, 2015, he spent another couple of years there in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Obviously, he was back to becoming, he was back as an indie wrestler from 2015. Yeah. Still is sort of kind of classed as an indie wrestler, even though he's signed to Impact. He still does his own thing outside of Impact. He obviously was on Lucha Underground as well. That was so he was contracted to them from 2016 to 2019. So he was quite prominent on Lucha Underground. Did you ever see any Lucha Underground stuff? It's a bit difficult to get over here, but it's definitely, you could definitely find stuff.
Yeah, I've been looking for it for ages, and I've not been able to find any of it. I've managed to catch one or two matches. I've like found a first blood match between Taya Valkyrie and El Hydra, I think it was. But I was looking for Solomon Crow, which is Sami Callihan, and Brian Cage, and I'm not been able to find a lot of that. I found a lot of the trios matches with Aerostar and Killshot, and they're fantastic. And
yeah, man.
But
Yeah.
I never found a lot with Sami Callihan or Brian Cage. Those are guys I was really looking for.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you had Ray Phoenix on there. You had Pentagon was on there. Again, there's a lot of talents. I mean, I believe, like you say, Taya was on there. I don't know, was Tessa on there? Did Tessa go on there at all? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because like I said, same as you, Joe. I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but what I have seen of it, I really liked. I like the way they set it up. It was like say, it was definitely it was a TV show. It was very Hollywood, like a movie. It was almost like a movie, rather than a wrestling show, I guess. But I have enjoyed what I've seen of that. I hope one of these days it'll turn up on Netflix or something like that over in the UK, and I'll get to watch all 3 seasons, which would be great. I mean, obviously, Johnny Impact or Johnny Morrison or whatever you want to call it, Johnny, several million names. He was on there. So there was a lot of top talent on display, a lot of young talent as well. I believe what was his name? He was on TNA for a while. Paired with Rob Terry a couple of times. Oh God, what was his name? Was the whole muscle guy?
Jesse Goddard.
Jesse Goddard.
Yes,
I believe
he was on the last season, and so was Chelsea Green.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talent, a lot of good strong talent that ended up on Lucha Underground, and a lot of young guys as well. A lot of those young guys have now predominantly started now. I mean, most of them there's a lot on Impact. You're seeing them in AEW. So a lot of talent was clearly being put on display by Lucha Underground. That's for sure. I mean, Willie Mack was on there as well, wasn't he?
Yes, I saw Willie Mack in a few matches. Fantastic.
Yeah. There was a lot of talent running through Lucha Underground in that time, and whoever was the booker there, I believe it was Vampiro or whatever. He obviously has got a eye for talent. So that was great. Sami then spent a little bit of time with MLW. He did 2017, 2019. I believe he left there in a little bit of a controversial fashion. Some sort of fall out with Jim Cornette, I believe. But then a lot of us fall out with Jim.
Jim Cornette's an arsehole, so
he's just a dickhead, isn't he? But anyway, let's not give him any airtime. He's a dick.
Too much already.
Of course, too much time spent. But of course, the most important thing for us was that he joined the Impact roster in 2017, and he's still with us now. What a fantastic signing for Impact Wrestling. The interesting thing is it's so many indie promotions to mention as well. I mean, including his own, which is obviously called Pro Wrestling Revolver. Let's not forget that. He does so much work on his own promotion. I'm hoping that it won't be very long before we start seeing Pro Wrestling Revolver on the Impact Plus app. I think that would be fantastic, along with many other promotions now. I mean, I know that we're seeing the Ethan Page's promotion is now going up on there, which is good.
That's very good.
But it's great to see that a lot of these sort of kind of like Impact Wrestling wrestlers or roster associated promotions are now going up on the Plus app.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I mean, they could write that stuff into their contracts, couldn't they? Really, to be fair.
It's financial support for the superstars as well.
I think it's great. I think it's absolutely superb. And I love seeing it. And I spend a lot of time flicking through. I don't necessarily watch massive chunks of it because for me it's all about time. Busy guy. but when I do get the chance, I do sort of kind of pop on the Plus app and check out some of the indie stuff that's on there, because it's a lot of my favorite wrestlers on these shows, so I get to see a lot more of my favorite guys wrestling, and the reality is that's gold to me. That is gold. I'm extremely happy to see that. But let's delve in, my friend. Sami arrives at Bound for Glory in the feud between LAX and OVE. What a debut.
Fantastic. OVE, they were talking about family, sort of after pronouns like, these guys are my family. Who have you got? And then out of nowhere, Sami Callihan comes in and everyone goes batshit crazy. I was hyped up to see Sami Callihan, and I barely heard of him at this time, but I was so happy to see that Dave and Jake Christ had got someone else on their side more than anything else, because LAX were dominating everybody.
I think that I think they built it quite well, because it was all
they
over
did.
the place on social media and stuff. That they were looking to sign Sami, and it was Sami that was going to come in, and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden he comes bounding down that ramp and lays waste. That's what happened. I mean, I think if there's anyone you want to say bam, and that was it. Sami Callihan was bam, he definitely turned up on an Impact TV with a bang. So once that all started to come together, we then started to see obviously a bit of a feud between LAX, OVE. Obviously, this whole family storyline thing was building. We had a lot to and fro, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a good storyline to follow on from the Barbed Wire Massacre 3 match. That was awesome, and that'll be something we'll be covering with from when we do Dave and Jake Christ. But to have Sami Callihan in come almost about straight after that, to really, really twist the whole story around a bit more was a very, very smart move.
Yeah, I think it sort of kind of suddenly added another dimension to the whole story. And I think, and as we all know, with Impact Wrestling, storytelling is very important, isn't it?
Definitely.
And I think that, again, is exactly why someone like Sami is a perfect fit for Impact, because, he clearly is very character-driven in his approach. I mean, when you see some of the stuff outside the ring, when you see him, I think they did a fantastic 2-part sort of docu thing with Sami. I think it was Bound for Glory, wasn't it? Where they did this sort of kind of like where it was leading up to his big World Championship match with Brian Cage. They did this behind the scenes thing. And you saw Sami, the person, as well as Sami, the character, in that whole thing, And I think so. It's very clear that Sami, as a person, is extremely charismatic. He's very caring. He's very character driven. He believes in the whole, telling a story as a wrestler. That's what it's all about, And I think adding him not only to the roster but to OVE, or to the creation almost of the faction of OVE. I mean, obviously we had Jake and Dave as the tag team OVE.
Yeah.
And then now we've turned out now OVE has suddenly become a faction as opposed to just a tag team, right?
Definitely. Dave and Jake Chris were starting to lose momentum, and Sami Callihan coming in pumped that back up.
That's right. I mean, it just changed the dimension again. So you've got one version of OVE, and now all of a sudden we've got another version of OVE, which we're all very invested and interested in. Once again, that's not to say that we're not interested in Dave and Jake. That'd be unfair to say. But
no, I love the when Dave and Jake Chris came in. I was hoping that when they had the 2 sets of tag team championships with the Global Force Wrestling, I was hoping Dave and Jake Chris would have won at least one of them. and then had the LAX and OVE fight it out that way. I thought LAX getting a clean sweep was a bit of an insult to everybody else.
Yeah, maybe, but I guess it was all about building LAX as a dominant force at that time. LAX in reality were pretty awesome. I don't think we could deny that. I think sometimes
can't deny it.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can't build everybody all at the same time. Otherwise, you wouldn't have belts or anything, would you? Do you know what I mean? So
no.
The bottom line is, they had to somewhere along the line they had to make a decision. Okay, we're going to push these guys now. These guys are going to come back. It's not like they didn't win the championship. They did hold it. They have held it. So they had a bit of glory there, and then they thought, right, but we're going to go with LAX. These are the guys. They're going to get big. We're going to go with these guys, and that's what they did. And they pushed them. I get it. I get it totally. And at the end of the day, at the end of their contracts, they moved on. Was it the right time for LAX to move on? Yeah, probably.
Definitely.
We've pretty much seen everything that we were ever going to see from them. Yes, you could bring in more tag teams. You can create more tag teams, but at the end of the day, it's still LAX, right?
Yeah, and Santana and Ortiz, they were ready to move on. So everyone parted ways in mutual respect and professionally. And Santana and Ortiz were really, really grateful to everybody for what they did. They even thanked me.
Yeah, they were complimentary, weren't they? I mean, they effectively, they left the right way, and knowing that if it didn't work out, or they come to the end of their contract and they're looking to move on, then Impact is an option. If you leave on good terms, then there's always that option to come back. And they're still young. In 2 or 3 years' time, if their contract's done in with AEW and they're not happy, or they think they want to move on, or Impact suddenly grown to a stature that they want to come back, then bringing LAX back will get a big pop, right?
Oh, it'll blow the roof off.
Right,
so
that makes sense.
Bigger pop than Jessica Havoc did last year.
yeah, exactly, which was big. Hey, that was a big pop too.
Big.
So I think everything that was sort of kind of like brewing with Sami at that time. Yes, he came in. Yes, we started getting some really cool promos, because that's the one thing that Sami can do, is give a damn good promo without a shadow of a doubt. His promos are, for me, some of the best in the business. And he really helped elevate this whole faction now. So they become this family, this faction. They stick together. No matter what, they've got each other's backs. That then sort of kind of moved on, and I don't want to gloss over the LAX and OVE stuff, but I think we can cover that more when we are covering OVE. I think when we cover Jake and Dave as a tag team, I think we'll cover that more, and I think we'll give it a lot more time. But I think then Sami moving on to the feud with Eddie Edwards
this is brilliant.
Where Sami effectively suddenly became what we affectionately known as the Draw, right?
Definitely. This is Sami Callihan making a statement, and making a statement in the most shocking way possible. People were expecting him to be fired after the incident, and
certainly apologetic.
Yeah, I was amazed that he wasn't suspended or anything, but I'm glad he wasn't, and I'm glad Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan agreed to carry this whole thing forward, because
why wouldn't you? I mean, come on,
this made Eddie Edwards. It gave Eddie Edwards a new breath of life, and Sami Callihan is the ultimate heel. You can't deny it. Whether it was with when he came in with the OVE, Sami Callihan was already established himself as a nice guy, but you piss him off, then he's going to make you pay for it. And when he suddenly just snapped at Eddie Edwards and smashed his eye in with the baseball bat, you knew then there was no turning back for Sami Callihan.
I think we've got a face to
and he didn't care. Oh, in
No,
character, he didn't. He didn't.
No.
In character, he didn't care,
I mean,
which just made
gotta face
it was
the fact.
perfect.
We've got to face the facts. At the end of the day, the baseball bat to the eye was an accident. Okay,
Yeah.
so it ricocheted. You know, he swung, he hit the chair, ricocheted off the chair, caught him in the eye. Now, it was an accident. You know, we all know that, you know, if you're going to get into a professional wrestling ring, that you're putting yourself in harm's way, especially when we're talking about baseball bats with, you know, or baseball bats with barbed wire on them, or, you know, chairs or tables or whatever it may be that is chosen, kendo sticks, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Kenny.
Kenny the kendo, whatever is chosen as a weapon potentially is going to hurt, right?
Oh, definitely.
It's potentially an accident waiting to happen, right? Now, you know, at the end of the day, Sami swung the bat. You know, he hits the chair, it ricochets off the chair, it hits Eddie in the eye, which, you know, I'm sure that backstage, Sami was the first person to apologize, right? I'm 100% convinced on that. However, to play on the fact that he didn't give a crap, and that, you know, it all ended up turning into Eddie going crazy, and this whole new kind of, you know, wave of what Sami was to become and what Eddie was to become. It made the pair of them. They need to thank each other, to be fair. Eddie needs to be saying, thank you so much for smacking me in the eye, Sami, because look at us now. You know, and I think, and it wouldn't surprise me if that didn't actually happen. You know, I'm sure that, you know, I mean, some of the stuff that this led to. I mean, let's face the facts. I mean, the you know, Sami attacking Eddie and Eddie attacking Sami in hospitals, and oh my,
fantastic spots between them.
Oh, it was incredible. Some of the stuff that was being put out on Twitter and social media was insane as well. You know, and it caught the attention of everyone. Like, you know, not only the fans, but other wrestlers. Like, dare I say it, Jim Cornette. You know, giving Sami the, you know, basically the evils, giving him the, you know, he's an unsafe worker and he shouldn't be in the industry, and all this kind of stuff. You know, when, you know, at the end of the day, it was an incredible angle, and they took an unfortunate incident of, you know, an accident, and they turned it into something gold. You know, and I know that the views on YouTube and all that kind of stuff went through the roof during this time for Impact. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, yes, it was unfortunate, but my God, did it blow up? Did it blow up? And it made both of them.
It was fantastic.
It made both of them like totally superstars from then on.
Yeah. All the mind games they did with Alicia Edwards and Tommy Dreamer as well. They really built up the nasty side of Sami Callihan that we know and love. And
some of the promos during this time was incredible.
Yeah. It was so the promos were so dark, and they were really, really intimidating.
I don't give a crap. Yeah, we loved it.
It was the perfect way to build them up to go onto Pentagon and to go on to Rich Swann. If they hadn't built him up with Eddie Edwards, then Sami Callihan versus Pentagon Jr. would have been a lot more flatter than it was. In my opinion, because it had that insane Sami Callihan will do what he wants to get where he needs to make a statement against the company because he feels that they're holding him back. You know, he attacked Don Callis when they tried to get a public apology off of him. The week later, he smacked him across the face with the baseball bat, and security had to come down and restrain him. We all know how weak wrestling security is. You pop them once across the nose, and they're on the floor and go,
there was some incredible stuff going on at that time. Some absolutely incredible stuff. You remember so much of the details, Joe. I love it. Well, of course, once all that came to a head, Eddie was off being crazy, and Sami was continuing to become probably the ultimate heel in Impact Wrestling ever. And we then moved on to Pentagon Junior. Now, like I said to you before, I think that although it wasn't flat, it wasn't boring, but I don't believe, for me, this was probably almost like the downtime, because other than the match of the year, the Sami versus, the Mask versus Hair, I don't think a lot of the stuff during this time was that good, apart from maybe allowing OVE to really start pushing their promos, maybe.
I have to tend to agree. I love the matches they put on. Just for quickly jumping back to Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards, we had they did the Lucha Underground versus Impact Wrestling. Sami Callihan went back into there as Jeremiah Crane. So
that's right. Yeah,
they catapulted the rivalry through there. Going on to Pentagon Junior, I agree. It was more of a downtime for AVE to get them all to really rebuild themselves again, reassess what they can do backstage, because you saw a lot more of a close bond between Jake Crist and Sami Callihan. And especially after when Sami Callihan lost the Mask versus Hair match, the first thing they do is blame it on Dave Crist and pin him to the floor and shave all his hair off. And then afterwards, they're all just screaming that it's all Pentagon's fault and it's all Pentagon's fault. And you could see that was a mix of really, really dark and insane stuff, and it was also really, really funny. But
I think that's one of the main things about OV promos is that they're kind of steeped on comedy, but with a real dark twist.
Yeah,
it's like it's comedy, but delivered in a dark way. Do you know what I mean? It's really hard to explain an OVE promo because they are just
you have to watch it to believe it.
Yeah, they're so good. Even down to silly things like when most of the talking is Sami, you've got Jake in the background mimicking Sami, like trying to copy him and stuff. Like because he's obviously in the mini draw, so is obviously now the golden draw. But at the time he was a mini draw, and all those silly little things. You had Dave in the background just looking at Jake as if to say, "What the fuck are you doing?" and all those that kind of stuff. I think was really, really clever, and I think that as a unit they really know how to promo.
Oh, definitely.
They so know how to do like big net stuff. They really do, and I think they really sort of kind of cemented how good they are at doing promos around this time. This is when the promos started to get really good.
The whole company really, really upped their game for promos. Pentagon started to really get a lot more intense with some of the stuff he was doing. He was ambushing OVE from behind, kidnapping people. So and the other main players we had then I think was Austin Aries or something and Johnny Impact. So and Johnny Impact wasn't the best at promos. So, but Eddie Edwards and Moose were fighting at that time I think as well. So they were building up together, and the women's division was starting to build up a lot more too. The knockouts. So and Rosemary's Gold with promos as it was, and she was with Taya Valkyrie. But at that time, the company was finally starting to see the right way to really start pushing the promos up more, and OVE set the bar on what you should be doing.
I think they were starting to use the big nets and the promos as a way of building that tension. And building matches without actually having to do anything in the ring. And it was clever because it meant that you didn't necessarily have to have your best talents in the ring every single week. You could put other people in the ring. but still have them on TV doing promos or whatever it is that they're
Definitely.
doing, to build those characters up, to get you to believe in them. If there's anyone that is, like you say, if there's anyone that can make you believe that, you know, regardless of anything, he's going to kick the shit out of you, and it's Sami. Like, you just don't ever want to you don't ever want to get into a one-on-one promo war with Sami Callihan, right?
Like, you just don't want to piss him off.
It just tear your face off. Like everything that comes out of his mouth is just absolute gold. And
spit him.
Yeah, he's clever. He's so clever. He's so clever. And I think sometimes he doesn't get the recognition he deserves for how clever he actually is with his words, with the ideas, his promos, and everything else. Just does not get the credit he deserves, and it really pisses me off sometimes. Especially when, you know, you see all these people on social media going on about this person or that person. They just don't even. Sami's not even in the running, and you think,
yeah,
have you actually seen this guy? Like, really, he is shoulders and heads above anybody else when it comes to being a heel in this industry, right? I'd even put him up there with Chris Jericho when he's being
me too.
a badass heel, right? I think, you know, I mean, the one thing with Chris Jericho, he can do anything, but one thing he is good at is being a heel, right? And I think that
definitely
there's only, yeah, for me, Sami is up there with him. I'm sorry, he is. I'm going to say that now.
I'm a huge Chris Jericho fan. He's my favorite wrestler out there, and Sami Callihan tops Chris Jericho. And when it comes to being a full-blown heel, you know, Chris Jericho, when he's heel, he can be really, really nasty. And he'll throw in comedic insults and everything too. But Sami Callihan has now upped it even more and made it almost like you'd expect something from in the intimidation from someone like Triple H or something to be just nasty. But Sami Callihan makes it nasty, but he makes it really, really believable and really, really intimidating, rather than like it's like right off a script.
Yeah, everything that comes out of his mouth, you can believe it. You believe that he means everything that comes out of his mouth, and it doesn't matter what the promo's about. You totally believe in. You're totally engrossed. You're totally invested in everything that he said, and you're hanging on every word.
Definitely.
That's how I take it. He's the best. Sami Callihan is the best in the business. Done.
When he's doing the it's all Pentagon's fault. It's all Pentagon's fault. Your pulse starts racing because you feel the emotion. From what he's saying, and it's just fantastic. Nobody else has caught my attention like that since Chris Jericho, and even then it took Chris Jericho taking the piss out of someone or something like that, not really making me jump and think, fucking hell.
No, I get that. Now
the level.
What we need to do is, I mean, obviously, I think this section with Pentagon really did elevate the promos and stuff like that. Really started to come to the front. Yes, we did get some really good matches, but that then moved on to the Rich Swann kind of feud, where you know it was all based around trying to get Rich to join OVE. It delved into some stuff that when Rich was obviously an up and coming wrestler, Sami took him under his wing, gave him somewhere to live, helped train him, you know, just basically kind of, you know, looked after him effectively, after him. Sami felt it was time that, you know, Rich paid him back for all of that. I think that's kind of where we were going with that. Joined the boys and made OVE even stronger. But obviously Rich had other ideas. So we then had, you know, a good 2 or 3 months of I think it's actually longer. It might have been 4 months worth actually.
I love this rivalry.
Yeah, which was some incredible stuff, and we actually saw like Rich go to a different place in his character as well, from this sort of kind of, you know, like we talked about in Rich's video, the whole sort of kind of welcome to the party, the whole fun side of Rich, and he then went to like this dark place, and he sort of ended up like why, and he was sort of kind of like a completely different place for Rich Swann to go to, and I think he showed that, again, yes, Rich is the party guy, he's the fun, face of the franchise or whatever, but at the same time, he can also, get down and dirty, right?
Sammy will break anybody, basically. He broke Eddie Edwards. He broke Eddie Edwards down to going down to the Overeat compound and trying to smash the shit out of everyone. He did it with Brian. He did it with Brian Cage before he went on to face Rich Swann.
Yeah, that's right.
That rivalry was sadly very, very short lived. And when he did it to Rich Swann, it was finally the turning point with Sami Callihan again. Because after the first half, or the first few months of 2019, I think it was when Rich Swann rivalry started, I thought Sami's going on a bit of another downer now, and not a lot is happening with him. So I'm waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And to get Rich Swann involved and to make that rivalry again so personal, it was Sami's back to his A game, and it was a great way to really, like you said, show Rich Swann is more than just a nice guy, more than a high flyer. You got to see a really, really huge range of offense from Rich Swann.
Yeah. I mean, the matches were incredible, weren't they? The in-ring action.
The matches were fantastic.
Were incredible. You could tell that these guys knew each other really well. And of course, they knew what each other was going to do, where they were going to go. And I think they picked their spots, and they just, you could tell that they trained together. So at the end of the day, they were able to put on some incredible matches. Again, we had some good promos. We had Rich going down to Ohio and to wrestling. We had all sorts of stuff going on at that time. And I think, one thing I really, what I really appreciate about Sami as well is that he is clearly not just about promoting himself. He's there to elevate whoever he is working with. So he's, for me, he's not a selfish wrestler. He's yes, he obviously wants to look good. He doesn't mind losing. He knows how to tell a story. He knows that if you just go out and win every single match, it's boring as fuck, right?
Yeah. So
eventually, and to be something to be realistic, you also have to lose occasionally. You do have to lose. And Sami at the time, that's something I don't you guys appreciate or notice, but Sami actually loses a lot.
Yeah. He okay, like you said, he's not ashamed or afraid to put anybody over. And on that documentary about Sami Callihan, about just after Bound for Glory, before facing Brian Cage, you can see when he's going backstage, he sat there and thinking, have I done enough? Have I done enough to make them look good? And Jessica Havoc said something really stuck with me, and that is that Sami Callihan is his biggest critic. And if he feels he hasn't made his opponent look good, then he's not satisfied.
No,
and
that is important.
That's just a true professionalism. Chris Jericho is another guy that's got that sort of mentality. If you're not and Cody Rhodes, if you're not making your opponent look good, and you're just out there to flatten people, win or lose, then you're not in the business for the right reason, really. You're in the business to please the fans, put on a good show, regardless of whether you win or lose. And we're gonna go on about Sami and Tessa Blanchard a bit more later when we do Tessa more than anything else. But when Sami was facing Tessa Blanchard, was probably the best example. He whacked the crap out of her, but he'd still take the loss with dignity. And he did the same with Rich Swann. He did the same with Eddie Edwards. He did the same with Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah. He does it with all of them. He at the end of the day, he's not afraid to take a pin. he's not afraid to make other people look good. At the same time, is making himself look good. You know, he's a total professional in that respect. I mean, when we got through the Rich Swann stuff, which again was some incredible matches with them and some good promos, we then head into Brian Cage, which obviously led to him eventually winning the world title. But you know, the Brian Cage rivalry, I think was interesting as well, because that was more psychological. Because I think that Sami is not stupid. He knows that, you know, he's going to struggle to match up to Brian physically. I mean, Brian is a beast. Let's face the facts. I mean, there's not many people that can outlift Brian. I mean, the guy is massive. He must weigh an absolute ton. I mean, muscle is heavy, so he must weigh an absolute ton. Imagine trying to lift him up and throw him around and stuff. I just can't imagine it. So I mean, we then had that rivalry. You know, I think that the rivalry sort of kind of was a bit stop-start. I said, but you know, it was good. You know, it was a really good rivalry. There was a lot of to-ing and throwing. We had, you know, at the end of the day, Sami was really struggling to beat him. You know, we eventually got to with this one. We eventually get to Hard to Kill, where we see the you know, World Championship match with Sami and Brian. This was, for me, the match of the, you know, was sorry, not Hard to Kill. I'm wrong. Bound for Glory. Sorry, Bound for Glory. We get to Bound for Glory. You know, for me, it was probably the match of the night. I don't know. Do you agree?
I'm just trying to think. Bound for Glory. It was one of the highlights of the night. I can't remember which match I picked as my favourite. Now I think it might have been the one that Rich Swann was in, or I'm going to have to have a look at the card again. But I know Brian Cage and Sami Callihan, for Brian Cage to come back from injury, take the beating that he did, and still pick up the win. I would have, in some ways, I would have preferred that he lost, but in other ways, I was happy he won, because there was this Access era debut the week afterwards. So, but,
it was obviously done for a reason. You know, they want that win to happen in a cage on Access TV. That's what they did. My feeling was, if Brian Cage's injury wasn't as serious as it was, Sami Callihan and Brian Cage would have had a lot longer rivalry. It would have been Michael Logan and Brian Cage for a little while. Yeah. And then Sami Callihan and Brian Cage leading up to the wedding, and then it really, really escalates like it did when he smacked Santos with the champagne bottle. That's right.
And then, because that was the push to get Brian Cage to win the match. So that for me is why I wasn't so overly disappointed that Sami Callihan had lost. I was just waiting for Sami Callihan to finally get his run as a champion, because I was so looking forward to seeing.
I think what it was really because Brian up to that point had a bit of a shitty time, you know.
Yeah.
You know, winning the belt, then getting injured, finally coming back from injury, but you know, they didn't take the belt off him. Sometimes I think he should have vacated that and let, you know, but he didn't, and they decided not to go with that. You know, they brought him back. They created some tension. They created a reason for Brian to really, really hate Sami and want to give him an absolute beating. We get into the Bound for Glory match. I honestly thought Sami was going to win.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought leading into it, it was going to be the Bound for Glory match was going to be Sami's Bound for Glory win, you know?
Yeah.
But they didn't, you know, and again, I think they surprised everybody. I think everybody thought Sami was going to win that night. And I think they surprised everyone. Brian retained. We then get it announced in 2 weeks' time. It was going to be Brian Cage versus Sami Callihan in a steel cage match for the first time on Impact Wrestling since they took over, and it was going to be free for everyone to see on the first episode of Access TV. Now, that was a good move, right?
Yeah, that's how you reinvent your product. You know, and the punishment Brian Cage had taken over Bound for Glory made the victory a lot more convincing as well, because he still needed to take at least 4 or 5 power drivers and one off the turnbuckle to finally knock him out. And he was still able to throw Sami all over the place and really batter him.
Yeah,
but for Impact to make Sami world champion on the start of the Access era was the best move, in my opinion. When you sit back and you stop sulking and you stop bitching and you just look back at it on a production scale and how you want to show off your product and how it's moving forward.
Exactly. You know, I mean, it was the shiny new setup with the red and the black and the, you know, we had the big cage and it was like, oh my God, yes. You know, we've been waiting. I remember only a couple of months previous to that saying to a couple of people, you realise we've not had a cage match or anything like that since, you know, Anthem took over. And it was starting to piss me off because I was like, you know, I love cage matches. I love that I love all that stuff. You know,
I was hoping for one with Havoc and Su Young or Havoc and Rosemary for a long time. Yeah,
that would have been awesome. But, you know, I think that, you know, we get it. You know, you can't give everybody everything. So, you know, we get it. They eventually give us a cage match. It's the very first Access TV taping. You know, and it's one hell of a match between Sami and Brian. I mean, did you see the way Brian literally leaped over the top of the cage into the ring in that match?
Yeah, that was amazing. You know, he pretty much his back was still bad, and for him just to come in and do that and just say, "Look, see, I can still go, guys."
Yeah.
So
I'm leaping over this ring to kick your ass, basically.
Yeah. You know, it was just great. Again, Brian Cage is a great showman, and a lot of people didn't give him the credit he deserves as well. But Brian Cage, I wish he'd stayed longer, but that's another talking point for something else if we ever do something else.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, we still don't know he's gone. I mean, we know that his contract has come to an end, but he hasn't signed anywhere.
No.
As far as so you never know. We might see him come back. He may decide that he wants to come back. I mean, I know that Melissa Santos still does the Twitch stuff, so she's obviously still around with Impact. So, you know, who knows? Who knows where it's all going to lead? We're just going to have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, so we end up with Sami becoming world champion during a cage match. We then, at the end of that match, what do we get? Tessa coming in, stealing Sami's glory, and just basically, you know,
continuing on that frustration Sami had with Tessa Blanchard after she lost the Knockouts title.
That's right.
We're going to go into Tessa and Sami a lot when we go on to Tessa Blanchard herself, but you know, they kept Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan going for like Tessa said, well over 8 months, and to have her come down to the ring.
That was filming the whole time, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you knew it was coming, and it was a damn good showing.
It certainly was. Now, then we sort of kind of had the to and fro with Tessa. We had promo stuff. We had a little bit of in-ring stuff. I mean, we had some really good, you know, I mean, prior to Sami winning the world title, we had some really good matches with Tessa. I mean, they faced off and they were, you know, I mean, yes, Sami pretty much won all of them. In fact, he did. He won every single one, didn't he?
Yeah.
Remember, he did. He won every single one, but Tessa was not having it. She was going to have him. He was a scum. He was a scum of the earth, and he needed to be, he needed to be eliminated. She needed to beat him. So I think, you know, then we sort of had that rivalry leading up to that incredible, like street fight, I suppose you can call it. That backstage street fight
Yeah.
that ended up in the streets in New York.
Oh, this is fantastic.
I mean, that promo alone, or that section alone, got like something stupid, like well over 1 million views or something crazy on YouTube and Facebook and all the rest of it, all the different places that you could see that. It was just constant. It was up everywhere.
Yeah.
And you know, and even during that whole period, I mean, you know, I don't want to gloss over stuff, but there was some other stuff that was good at that tapings, because you had the in-ring promo of Sami Callihan basically saying, you should be thanking me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the hero here because, you know, I'm willing to get in the ring and I'm willing to fight this woman. You know, I'm treating her like a wrestler. This is what you want. I'm the hero. And you know what? He's actually right, isn't he? In reality, he's sort of almost like an anti-hero in this story, right?
Definitely. It's like you said, Sami Callihan's. You know, it's people are saying, "Oh, it's 2019, it's 2020. We want this, we want that." Sami Callihan's giving you that, and you're still crying about it. So, this in a way is what builds up to ICU. You know, when he had his first match with Tessa Blanchard, and he hands over the bat to her to say, like, you know, I respect you, and after he finishes that promo, he slaps her on the ass, and she gives him that stiff forearm. You knew then that this rivalry wasn't over, and the way they carried it on was very, very, very entertaining for me. You know, I've seen Tessa Blanchard versus Brian Cage, Tessa Blanchard versus Jake Chris. I've seen Tessa and Sami Callihan go at it somewhere in bar wrestling or Wrestle Circus, and she can hold her own. You know, she's no pushover, and people can whine and bitch about it as much as they like. But you know, intergender wrestling is becoming something a lot of people want to see. And Sami Callihan and Tessa Blanchard were saying, "Fuck it, let's give the people what we want."
Yeah.
What they want. Sorry.
It's not intergender wrestling. It's
pro
wrestling.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling. I'm giving you pro wrestling. That's a fact. That was my worst impression of Sami, by the way. Right? I know it was bad. Right? But just go with it. Just go with it. All right? It was bad, but just go with it. All right? You know, trust me, it was good. It was good. It was one of the best.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the best you've ever heard, right? Just go with it. So, so I mean, I want to go back to that match that they had at Slammiversary, which was, you know, when Tessa come out in all gold and all the rest of it. I think that was, for me, that was the match where you knew that this whole pro wrestling, intergender wrestling thing was like kind of real. This was a thing, and no, we've not necessarily seen much of it on a national or worldwide TV show, but boy, it's good. I mean, it's good. I mean, if you've got two professional wrestlers that are amazing at what they do, does it matter whether they're male or female?
In my eyes,
no. It doesn't, does it? At the end of the day, no. If they're good at what they do, it doesn't matter. They're going to make it look good. You're going to be entertained. You know, I'd love one of these. I'd love it. If what I would have loved is, in the film Gladiator, when he goes in there and he just finishes everybody off, and he stands there. Are you not entertained? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see like Sami do that. You know, I mean, I think if he was to do that at the end of a match where he just, you know, like kick the shit out of a woman or something, and just stand there in the middle of the ring, just going, "Are you not entertained?" You know, and just sort of kind of, you know what I mean, like in good old fashioned Sami style. I think that would be bloody awesome.
Oh, the roof will get blown off with booze, but that's just because Sami's such a good heel, you know.
Yeah,
he's not going to get a round of applause for winning or losing, because everyone just loves to hate Sami Callihan.
Love hating him, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
They love to hate Sami Callihan. So yeah, no, I love that. I thought that match was incredible. I thought both wrestlers really showed how good they were and had the chemistry that they had. And of course, it really helped build that feud. I mean, some of the stuff he'd say was so horrible, so disgusting towards her. And you could see that, she was actually proper wound up by some of it as well. It was proper winding her up. And I think that added to that feud and sort of kind of, started to cement that and pull that forward. So when we eventually got to the point where it was going to be, okay, Sami Tessa for the championship, that then went through to Hard to Kill. That match was fueled with, of course, we had the controversy for Tessa leaving it, but we'll ignore that. That was completely fueled by, almost like pure hatred for each other. And I think when that sort of kind of went down, again, what a match. I mean, for me, definitely one of the matches of the night, without doubt. And the stories that they tell in the ring when they perform are amazing.
Yeah, the promos before it, one of the closing lines Sami Callihan says to his promos, "I'm going to bash her fucking skull in."
Yeah.
He's not going to hold back, and Tessa Blanchard doesn't want him to hold back. So it shows that they're both ready to take whatever they're gonna take. And
that's incredible. It was just outrageously incredible.
It's not as if Tessa Blanchard was outpowered. She was able to lift him onto her shoulders a few times and move him, throw him around in that. So people can say, "Oh, that's just because he let him do it," but that's the whole point.
That's what wrestling is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone helps each other to look good. So that's what you're supposed to do. Now the finisher with the I believe it was a Canadian destroyer off the top rope in that match. That was fucking awesome. And again, Sami took it so well. He took it so well. Obviously, he then takes the pin. Tessa wins, takes the glory, off he goes. Not to be seen. Then until we get the following week when we get the sort of studio style interview with Tessa. He appears on the screen, does the promo. That's where we get the whole "you'll never see me coming" stuff. And then of course Sami disappears. In true Sami fashion, we then get the next couple of weeks, and everyone's like, "Oh, when's he going to turn up? When's he going to turn up? Is he going to come from under the ring? Is he going to come from out of the crowd? Is he going to come out dressed as somebody else and whip a mask off? What is he going to do? How is he going to get her? Because he's obviously, he's coming for her now. He's going to come for her." And then all of a sudden, we start getting the ICU stuff turn up. Sami disappears off social media, gone.
Yeah. He's playing the fans as much as he's playing the wrestlers in the ring. He really, Matt Hardy's another guy who does that really well.
Exactly.
It's genius.
So ICU turns up. Then we get the speculation. Is it Sami or is it somebody else? Is it Sami? We don't know. Nobody actually knows. We think it's Sami. It makes sense that it's Sami because it's the whole ICU, you won't see me coming type thing. And then, of course, we start getting all the glitches and and all the rest, all that stuff is going on.
He attacked our boys too.
That's true. He did. Yes. He just attacked everybody, doesn't he?
Yeah. We're still waiting, Sami. This video's about you now. I see you. We dare you.
We dare you. I see you.
I've called you out a few times.
We keep calling him out, but he just don't do it, does he? He's not getting involved. He's obviously scared of us, Joe. I think he's scared. He's like, "Mate, I'm not getting involved in those bad boys from the UK. They'll fuck me up big time." You know what I mean?
Nobody. If you step into the void, then you're lost forever. Believe me.
Nobody wants that, Joe. Nobody wants that. Nobody definitely wants that.
Reality's lost enough as it is.
That's true. Reality is definitely lost. So we get all of the build up for ICU, all the glitches, the promo stuff that's going on, scan the codes and all sorts of stuff, which I think is really cool. It's obviously what he really wanted to do with the character that he was trying to portray back in NXT, I think. And I think that we're now going to see it truly come to fruition of what his vision really was for the character and how he wanted that to play out. I think we're going to see that on Impact. I'm really looking forward to it. I think so far it's been such a great build up, and they have not been afraid to just keep it going and keep it going and keep it going. It was only a week or so ago that he's now appeared. With the old fireball in the face of Ken Shamrock. The whole lights off thing. You didn't see him come in, and you didn't see him go. I love the whole, where he puts up the phone, obviously presses something, and all the lights go out and it all glitches, and then he just disappears.
It's so clever.
It's just attention to detail, isn't it? It's attention to detail. Like, every little thing sort of kind of has its place, and I think it works so well. And effectively, this is the rebirth of Sami Callihan. ICU is the rebirth of Sami Callihan, and he's going to take his heel, badass, crazy scumminess to the limit now. And I think that we're going to see some serious retribution for the next 12 months at least. What do you think?
I agree. It's definitely the rebirth of Sami Callihan. I can't say it's something he's needed, but Sami Callihan's he's Silver Draw, but he's done the whole I'm with Ohio, I'm for Ohio and everything, and he's still in a way saying he is going to take over everything, but now he's not really doing it for Ohio. He's doing it because reality is a lie in his eyes, and he's going to expose the truth. He did a great promo on this week's tapings. Guys who are listening to this now, this was the one with that it had the 8-man battle royal, the 8-man match for the X Division title contender spot.
That was amazing. Yeah,
Sammy's promo there. If the promos are going to be like that, it's right back to where the OVE promos were. It's going to be really, really engaging. It's going to be really, really. You're going to have to watch it again and again and again to really let everything sink in.
I think the whole idea is the same old thing. Give me a reason to want to watch next time. Give me a reason to keep tuning into the show, and this is going to do it. What is ICU going to do next? What is Sami? And who's he going to bring in? It's not just going to be him. It's not him on his own. There's more to this ICU than just Sami. Pardon me. So I think we're going to see some incredible builds. We're going to see some must-see TV. I think it's going to be amazing. And you know what? I am absolutely and totally into Sami Callihan, the draw, and I am his biggest fan, and I cannot wait to see where this all goes. So Sami, if you listen to this, if you watch this podcast, mate, we're down with it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Sami. You're incredible. All right, you're an incredible talent. Joe and I love you, and we cannot wait to see what you're going to do in the future. We just think that ICU, the rebirth of Sami, in reality is definitely lost. That's without doubt, and I cannot wait to see you bring the truth to the people. What do you think, Joe?
We're waiting, Sami. You're not the bad
guy.
I
want it, yeah. Come on,
You're not the bad guy. We need it, Sami.
We need this.
We need the answers.
We need this. We need this podcast to be infiltrated. If you can do it, I don't think you can, and I'll tell you why. Because we have got such good security on this. I'm telling you, this is security proof, baby. You cannot get anywhere near Impact.
Yeah, you can't get near British intelligence.
No, you can't. No. Unless you want James Bond on your ass. Right? It's It's not happening, mate. British intelligence all the way. So I think that brings us to a close, Joe. I think another good showing. I've really enjoyed talking about Sami. I think Sami is an incredible character, and I just cannot wait to see what he's going to do with ICU, the Reality Is Lost character, as we pull through. The guy is an incredible talent, amazing at promos, amazing in the ring, the best heel in the business, for sure. Do you agree?
Yeah, he's one of the most hardcore, and he's definitely, in my opinion, the best heel in the business
Today.
to date, if
Because
ever.
Tyson and the Joker said so. There you go. That was pretty intense, wasn't it? Go, Joe. Go with it, right? So yeah, that was pretty intense. Anyway, we're going to bring this. We're going to bring this show. We're going to bring this show to a close now. It's been a great chat, Joe. I really enjoyed it. So I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, ESO Personalized. Again, Joe is displaying his fantastic impacted hat there, which they supplied to us a couple of weeks back. So thank you very much again for that. Remember, their business is your brand, or your brand is our business, however way you want to word it. At the end of the day, feel free to get in contact with them at www.esopersonalized.co.uk. They'd love to hear from you, help you with your brand, help you promote your products. That'd be fantastic. And I'd just like to say, where can we find you, Joe?
You can find me on Twitter at JOK empty space. If you want to track me down on Facebook, take a look, have a look out for Spandex Club UK, and send a request to join, and I'll probably add you if you want to talk about wrestling there, maybe. And you'll find me in a lot of Impact Wrestling based groups as well. So just look out for Joe O'Keefe, or if you put the hashtag in empty space or the void or something like that, you'll probably see some posts from me come up. You'll find me on Twitter and message me on Twitter, and if you want to add me on Facebook or somewhere there, then message me on Twitter, and I'll send you my account, and you can follow me from there.
Yeah, all right, mate. No worries. That sounds good. Don't forget to follow Joe. He really is a good person to follow on Twitter. He shares stuff. He's got some great insights into wrestling. So there's also some really crazy stuff that he comes up with. That's also very enjoyable to read and take part in some of his discussions as well. He does love a good chat on wrestling. Don't forget to leave us a comment. Don't forget to like. And don't forget to head over to the Total Nonstop Impact Podcast channel on YouTube. Obviously, hit up the subscribe button. And don't forget to smash the bell. Sorry. Smash the bell, baby. Give it a smash. Yeah, smash the bell to never, ever miss any of the great content from the TNI channel. Don't forget, we do also have the #1 Impact Wrestling podcast review show with Trent and J-Bone. That happens every single week. At the moment, it seems to be happening on a Tuesday evening, but sometimes it's a Thursday. But generally, it happens on a Tuesday evening. Again, it's live. So, if you're around, if you're in the UK and you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, then feel free, get on there, go and make some comments. They will interact with you. Exactly the same, obviously, if you're in the US and you're listening to our podcast. But don't forget, it's a live interaction show. Make sure that you get involved. They love talking to you guys. And putting you over as well. They generally do put you over, which is really cool. So yeah, get involved with those guys. They also do the throwback show, which is, I believe, on a Monday, which is obviously hooked up with regards to the old TNA content. So if you want to follow along with them, watch some of the old content, you only got to check out Impact Plus. Get that on your phones. Check out Impact Plus, so you can follow along with them. Remember, at the end of the day, that is a live show too, so you can interact with the guys, leave comments on that show. Trent and Jay also do that show on a Monday. So, and of course, every Wednesday. Fresh new content from my boy Joe and me and myself, Bison, with the Impacted podcast from TNI. Don't forget, each and every week we bring you new characters, new content. So please don't forget to share. Don't forget to leave us a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to smash the bell. You'll find out about us every week. Smash the bell. Smash it. Yes. We've got to smash the bell. Smash it. And I think that, I just don't want you to miss any of our fantastic content. It's great to have you guys come along with us. Please leave a comment. Joe especially likes to answer your comments when I get on there, and sometimes I get on there and I can do the same too. We'd love to have a discussion. So if you want to find me on Twitter, you'll find me at Lord Bison 45. I need to change that really because my birthday was yesterday and I'm 46 now. I was going to say 24. That's a bit weird, isn't it? I'm not 24. I might be 24 in here. I'm 24 in here, but I'm unfortunately 46 on the outside. I'm 46. So, so 46 years old now. But anyway, follow me at Lord Bison 45 on Twitter. If you want to find me on Facebook, then I am Jason Hawke on Facebook. I'm sure you'll find me. I'm also one of the administrators of the Spandex UK Club. You'll probably find me on there. It's a very exclusive club, and there's only one rule, and that rule is, Joe.
God, I can't remember it. Oh,
you
God.
Can't remember
no,
we
I mean, I've been in
talk about Spandex Club.
Oh, God.
Come on. That's the very first rule of Spandex Club. When you get to Spandex Club, the first rule is you don't talk about Spandex Club, mate. And yeah, we're now putting it all over YouTube. Oh, my God. What are we doing, mate? What are we doing?
Oh, well.
It's an exclusive club.
We'll have to update the rules.
I don't know. We're going to have to change the rules. We'll have to create something else now. But bottom line, Spandex Club UK, if you're interested, look it up on Facebook. If you want to join, then obviously we'll hopefully add you if we think that you're worthy. Remember, you do have to be worthy. Spandex Club is exclusive. It's a very exclusive club. You have to be worthy to join that club. So look us up. We'd love to talk to you about wrestling. We love to talk wrestling all the time, don't we, Joe? We just love it.
Definitely.
So, definitely follow us on Twitter. That's for sure. Okay, so nothing else is left to say, my friend. Nothing else is left.
I have one last thing to say. I'd like to say happy anniversary to Rich Swann and Sue Young.
Oh, yes. When was this? Today?
It was, I think it was yesterday. So happy anniversary to you two.
Happy anniversary, Rich and Sue. Definitely.
Come home, Richie.
Lovely.
Come home.
You need to get back soon, mate. I hope you're recovering well. We do look forward to seeing you back on Impact TV. So, I've been Bison. I've been
the Joker. I've been the Joker.
This is Impacted. Take care, guys. Till next time.
Guys.